name is Artsy Blanco, the Artsy sister, and this is Saturnastra, Marduke. Let me see. Chapter 13, Part 2. We were both left alone among the remains of the charred nightmare. Walking over the fragments I approached the mage. He was sobbing on the floor, trying to piece together his torn robes. I removed my cape and I placed it over him. Frightened, he turned around and he saw me. He cringed from me because he did not recognize me. Smiling, I said, "It is I, Marduke." Recognizing my voice, he hugged my legs. I kneeled to see him eye to eye. He also studied my face, but he could not recognize me. I laid his head over my chest and I whispered, "Ah, it is you. I recognize your heartbeat. It has the same calm pace that always comforts me." He later added, "Marduke, you are different from everyone I've ever met. You are the first person that ever tried to help me without asking for anything in return. Even though you knew that I was using you, you still took care of me faithfully. And I don't know why, but I think I'm starting to grow rather fond of you." Smiling sadly, I said to him, "I have no doubt of the sincerity of your feeling. Sadly, I feel that I'm just a replacement for your magic. Your powers comforted you and guided you. Now that you cannot cast, you look to me for support." Frowning, the mage pushed me back. The sharp pieces of his nightmare rose before him. He looked at his own reflection with disgust. In anger, he said, "Have I truly become such a weak, feeble woman? There's nothing shameful to clinging to one's hide," I responded. I could see in the mirror my true self reflected. Hearing me say this made the mage transfigure into his original masculine form. In a firm voice, he said, "So there's nothing shameful about being a coward?" "No. Every animal, every bug, every being yearns to live. Those who do court death are nothing but fools." While I said, the images of animals and humanoid beings swirled around us in a torrent. Amazed, the mage asked, "Is this your magic?" The universe itself was added to the world we surrounding us. Shaking my head, I said, "No, this is my power, not my magic. Can you not see that this is real and that you are awake? If we are away from Bersames' tavern, then can I finally cast my magic?" he asked, not truly convinced. "Sadly, you cannot. While your spirit soars, your body stays behind." This statement did not humor the mage one bit. I awoke afterwards. Together we were standing in the middle of Bersames' room. Had anyone entered the room during this charade, we would have seemed like an odd pair of sleepwalkers. Dan was still far away, so we went back to sleep again. This time, I decided to visit my father. In my sleep, my true self walked alone in a Gothic cathedral. The windows were opaque with stained glass windows. They each showed odd scenes. In the darkness, I felt for the string that led me back home. In the other hand, I held a replica of the mysterious pendulum. Eventually, I found the door that led to my father's lab. In the dream, it was bathed in darkness. All I could see was my father sitting in a cushioned chair before a table. Scattered over it, I saw many tiny crystals of different shapes and sizes. He was wearing his usual red robes. A large lock of silver hair, fell over one of his eyes. His pale skin contrasted greatly with the red of his robe. He was deeply focused on looking at a crystal. As usual, he did not hear me enter. I placed in his empty hand the pendulum. When he felt it, he smiled at me, and I was able to understand. The next morning, I was woken up by Bersames. Like yesterday, he was glaring at me with his evil black eyes. Half asleep and unimpressed, I said, "Just what do you want from me?" "I always thought of you as a son. Everything I ever did, I did for you. And all I ever wished in return was to shape my son into my own image." He said this in a more sinister fashion. With his hand, I said, "You know, all you humans are the same." This made Bersames laugh out loud. Judging by the sound coming from the bed, Bersames' laughter had a woken sibilant. Still smiling with his eyes beaming jet black, Bersames added, "That is the best compliment any anyone has ever given me. Calling him human. He left the room afterwards. Once again, he had locked the door behind him. Luckily, he had left behind our meals for the day. We ate our breakfast in silence. Since I was locked up with Sivano, I was forced to use Bersame's bath. Ducha. It was designed to accommodate Bersame's large frame. The mage bathed afterward. While he bathed, I decided to try out Bersame's bed. Lying down over it, I realized how comfortable it was. I dozed off a little. Eventually, Bersame returned to the bedroom. I noticed his presence when a large hand lifted the curtain. Frowning, he said, "What are you doing in my bed?" Johnny was saying. I said, "Napping." "Where is Libra?" he asked. At that moment, I heard Sivano exiting the shower. He grasped when he saw Bersame there. Luckily for him, he was wearing clothing. I usually left mine outside the bathroom. I nodded, I got out of bed and sat before the looking glass. Once again, I was forced to see Bersame make another stupid romantic scene. He smelled the mage's particularly wet hair and he said, "Lilac." Blushing, the mage said hesitantly, "Yes, it is. Thank you for buying such a fragrant soap." That got weird. Bersame went towards the door and he dragged another pack of books. Smiling, he said, "Look, I brought you more books." Again, Sivano answered timidly, "Thank you." Suddenly, Bersame's fury blazed out. His eyes shone bright like two red coals. Time?
8 minutes 25 seconds.
He grabbed the mage by the shoulder. He was squeezing the shoulder very tightly. In a fury, he yelled, "You're just like the other Libra. You don't love me. You don't love me." I did. Bro? You're just like the other Libra. You don't love me. You don't love me. The mage tried futilely to get away. The more he struggled, the tighter Bersame's grip became. Eventually, he gave a piercing cry of pain. It echoed across the Libra Tower. At the sound of his scream, I leaped into action. I grabbed one of the chairs and broke it in Bersame's back. After breaking 10 objects over his head, Bersame finally released the mage. The pitiful intervention made Bersame laugh. While he laughed, the mage crawled into the bed to hide from Bersame. Once he was done laughing, he looked around and he ordered, "Marduke, you better clean up the mess you made." I lay down on the couch and I responded, "You do it." Turning my back to him, I feigned to go to sleep. I heard him growl behind me. Eventually, I heard Bersame cleaning up the furniture I had broken over his head. Once he was done, he said, "Marduke, you really do surprise me sometimes." Where Bersame left, we prisoners breathed a sigh of relief. When I was certain that Bersame had departed, I said to the mage, "I spoke to my father yesterday. I asked him about that accursed pendulum. He said to me that depending on how it swings, how fast it withers ether. Said Bersame has it covering a wide area. It does not swing as fast as it should. If you manage to gather ether fast enough, you should be able to cast magic." After I said this, the mage tried to cast a spell. The spell was a dud. Signing, he said, "I knew it was too much to hope. There is more. Since it has been swinging for such a long time, the entire place has lost its ether. In here, the magic of the gods, the moons, the sun, nature, the planets, the stars, etc. do not reach you. All that remains is for you to call upon the magic that is within you." This left Sivano quite perplexed. "I have always tapped into my own magic," he said in anger. "No, you have just the ether of beings outside of yourself to cast. You cannot call that power your own. Now it is time for you to generate your own ether. Cast your own spells. Tap into your true potential," I said, jumping on top of Bersame's table. Narrowing his eyes, he said, "Just when did you speak to your father?" "Look, I hate explaining things. Can you just have a little bit of blind faith?" The thing?
5 minutes.
And my response, the mage raised his hands to the sky in exasperation. He started pacing around the room, and that was usually a prelude to one of his fits. I jumped off the table and landed before him. Pointing at the pendulum, I said, "Look, that is a tool used by wizards of old to tap into the true potential. They use it to isolate all the energies that granted them ether willingly. It also taught them ether control and helped them practice their diction without blowing their tower to smithereens." After this, I took a chair and placed it in the center of the room. It was in the perfect position to follow the movements of the pendulum. Pointing at the chair, I said to him, "Sit down. I will not let you sleep until you cast something." Fine. If at the end of the night I cast something, perhaps I will believe your whole dream, mumbo jumbo. I might also believe that you can communicate to others via your dreams. When he said this, he started chanting. The mage had photographic memory. He only whined about his books because he had yet to look through all of them. After 2 hours, he looked depressed, frowning and said, "For a mage, you really are you're a real skeptic. Magic has nothing to do with creeds or beliefs. It is a power that I can manipulate through my will. This business of creating magic out of nothing seems pointless," he said while lazily yawning. "Look, if magic did not already exist within you, then you would not be able to cast," I said to the mage, who frowned at my rebukes. "That issue is debatable. I mean, many of my rich intellect apprentices cast magic via my interception. Try as it may, they could not tap into any of the powers that surrounded them. They were never the wiser as to why they could only cast within my tower. They blamed their failings on their own inexperience. Looking back, I think that was the best money-making scam I ever concocted." He said this with a smirk. "You are not as devious as you imagine. Back when my father still cared, he pulled similar stunts. Thankfully, my uncle now provides all the funding that my lazy father could ever desire." While I said this, I started nodding off. I lay down on the couch and lazily watched Sivano attempt to cast his magic. For 2 days we did the sleep deprivation training, even while Bersamer was around. Sivano would fiercely try to cast. This new behavior freaked Bersamer out. More than once he hinted that he would like to take Sivano out of the tower if he promised not to do any of his spellcasting because he was getting freaked out by his constant mumbling. On the third day, I saw Sivano talking to one of the Libra statues. I looked at the statue with both my human eye and my true eyes. He was starting to hallucinate. When I got close enough, he asked me, "Just who is this Libra anyway?" "A woman that looks like you." "Ah, Libra." Putting his face side by side with Libra, he asked, "Do we really look that much alike?" "Your face is a mere coincidence," I said, this pointing at his heart. "The faster you cast the magic, the sooner we can get out of here." The final speech gave the mage more motivation. A few hours later, he nearly burned Bersamer's bed. Together we quenched the fire. A second later, Bersamer rushed to the door. Between the 3 of us, we managed to call the fire. When Bersamer inquired about the flames, Sivano said, it was a candle, it was an accident." The time?
2 minutes and 6 seconds.
To keep him from inquiring more, Sivano kissed Bersamer. Having his magic back helped Sivano regain courage. After casting the first spell, I finally allowed Sivano to sleep. After 2 more days of practice, Sivano could cast most of his spells. Even I was impressed by his progress. He truly was a genius. Once again, our study had taken out the grand total of the night. We called it quits around sunset. And I will call it quit around now. I don't need any more. Bye-bye and God bless.